Hey everyone, thanks for joining. Sorry, just had to wait a few minutes there just to let people hop on. We should have Kurt and Ash in the building as well, in the Zoom building, that is. Hey Kurt.
Hello.
How's it going, man?
Good, mate. Yourself?
Very good, thanks. Thanks for having us. I really appreciate it.
No worries. Thanks for coming along. Obviously, Building Exact's an estimating and job management software, so we're not experts in marketing. What we do is the estimating and job management side of it. We've got some great experts in that field with Ash, and then obviously with Kurt, who we've done a few webinars in the past. Kurt, this might be like 4th or 5th one now, probably.
Yeah, I think so.
Probably like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So guys, today, obviously what we're going to be really talking about, as the title suggests, is how to attract your clients, some of the things you need to do in your business to enable that to happen. Obviously, with the way the country and the world is kind of going at the moment, there is going to be a little bit of a drop off in the amount of work that's available. So getting your marketing systems and processes in place has never really been more important. I'll try not to cut into too much of these content, but yeah, obviously we want to try and help you figure out your marketing systems and processes, some of the basics that you need to get up and running, and some of the things that you can do as you start to progress. But really, it's all about finding the right clients that fit what you want to do, ultimately making you the most profit in your business, and making sure your business is safeguarded for the future in the next 2-3 years of maybe a little bit uncertainty, especially kind of with interest rates. A lot of people's fixed home loans are coming to an end now, so those are going up, and then projects slowing down a little bit. So obviously we've got Kurt and Ash. Kurt, you've obviously seen heaps in the past. He's sort of an expert across the board for everything to do with builders. Works with a bunch of different builders. He's got a book which will intro later on, and I think you're giving that away for free. Is that right, Kurt?
Absolutely. Yeah. Anyone on the live call and also listening to the recording. I'll talk about it later.
Yeah, brilliant. And Ash, we haven't actually done anything like this before, but Ash, I'll give you. You can introduce yourself there.
Yeah, so I'm Ash. I'm from Inseek Identity, and I work with trades and builders just to get their online presence up to scratch and really reflect how amazing they are behind the scenes online, and just the power of marketing in today's age.
Awesome. If you get a chance, guys, Ash's website is or company is Inseek Identity. There's some really good examples of some of the work that she's done to help businesses go from having little to no presence or good presence to really helping them out in driving that change. And not everyone is an expert on this sort of stuff. I mean, I'm still trying to cope with the TikTok generation that's happening now. And I think that's, those sort of things are only going to get bigger and bigger for businesses. So it's really important to stay up to date. And, for a lot of people in business, it's not something that they're able to do themselves. So getting someone on board like Ash is, going to really help your business. But I'm going to throw over to you, Ash, and let you talk about the stuff that you know a million times more than what I know on this.
Cool. Thank you, Julian. All right, cool. I'm
Awesome.
just going to get my screen ready. Okay, cool.
I'm going to turn my microphone on mute because I've got a dog beside me, and she might go crazy if someone arrives at the door.
Okay. Can you guys let me know when you can see it correctly?
Yep, we can see it now.
Yep. All right, cool. So hi everyone, like I said before, I'm Ash. I'm from Inseek Identity. We basically work with probably 95% trades and builders. And my story is I fell into that industry by accident. I feel like when you start, you're very excited for any lead that comes in the door, but every time a builder would come through an inquiry form or a word of mouth, I used to get so excited. And I think one of the biggest reasons with that was because I know their worth, and I know, personally back in the day how amazing they were, whether they were a friend or I knew them prior to working with them. But online and before people knew them personally and had worked with them, they couldn't see their potential. So it's become a massive passion of mine within my business, and what my business is about is to really reflect what you do behind the scenes with a big service where there's a big investment of money and time to really showcase your expertise and why somebody should work with you over a competitor. So today I'm going to be talking more predominantly on how to become the number one in your industry, in the building industry, through the power of your online presence. So yes, this is me. I've had InSeek Identity since 2016, and we basically turn super busy businesses into sought after go-to online brands. Basically want to help you feel like you're not fumbling around in the dark anymore, and opening up the world of marketing and showing you the potential of it, so that you can not only become found a lot more easily, but you also stand out as that go-to business in your industry. And also I'm very big on taking over, making it really simple, because as business owners, we wear a million hats, and marketing shouldn't be your number one skill set. It should be building a house. As you know, I can't build a house. You wouldn't want to step foot in a house that I've built, but I'm okay with the marketing side. So really sticking to what you're good at, which I know Kurt is very big on as well, and outsourcing what you're not good at, so that you really maximize your time as well. So what we work on with builders is branding and websites. Social media management is a massive one, probably the biggest part of our business at the moment. Social content and strategy, so creating content for businesses, really representing them in the best way that they want to be presented in their goals moving forward. We do social strategy before we get started on social media management, and basically just take over. And we also do email management as well, which I've noticed is becoming massive as well in the last few years as well, and also all graphic design, so brochures and lead magnets and everything like that. So I want to start with a story, because I feel like we connect very well with stories as business owners and as people. So a little bit of a truth bomb for you all is you could be the best builder in Australia, in the country, but your social and your online presence reflects you as one of the worst builders. So a little true story is my dad's friend, who I've known for very many years. I'm going to call him Grant, just switch around the names. He has been in business, he's a builder, and he's been in business for 1,000,001 years, like forever. He has so many years of experience. I know he's the best of the best. He's amazing with his communication, his quality, his prices are so reasonable, and he's just great at what he does. However, he is old school. He doesn't believe in social media. He believes in the old forms of, yellow pages and flyer box drops, because that's what he knew when he started. So he's very attached to that. And he's gotten a lot of his word of mouth throughout the years through referral partners and just people that know what he does. This was back in 2020, by the way, end of 2020. And then I had a client that came on board. Ben was very young. I think he was like 19 or 20. And he didn't have heaps of experience, obviously. And yeah, he wasn't very well known around the area. He had kind of like done a few dodgy things with a few clients in a small area that we live in. So word spread. He was very charismatic, so he would have, quotes and chats with potential clients, and he would get them over the line with that. But as soon as they handed over their deposit and started working with Ben, they wouldn't hear from him. He would kind of go ghost, and he would leave their house and the site very messy. He would rock up late. He was very expensive. And a lot of things were a bit dodgy. But the thing with Ben was he came to me, he invested in everything. He didn't flinch. He got everything done very, very professionally. So as you can imagine, behind the scenes, once you work with these two business owners or these two businesses, you have two very different experiences. But from the front end of what you can see online, or you can go off because you don't know them yet, you haven't worked with them yet, or invested your time or money with them yet, is you get a very different picture before you actually sign on. So Ben was the one that was ranking in all these leads. So being 2020, as you can imagine, a lot of things shifted in the world. And what my dad's friend Grant was saying to me is he would always mock me, when we would go to dinners and stuff, and he'd say, oh, I don't believe in social media and things like that. And I'd say to him, you do realize this is my job. And he was just like, yeah, I don't need that. And then when this all happened, a lot of the people that would refer him clients actually went under with COVID. So the 2 or 3 main referral sources that he had for 20 or so years weren't referring him any work anymore. And he actually came to me one day and he was like, I really need to talk to you. He's like, I need to do something about this because I need to get on the trends. I've got no work. And it was really like this 360 that happened. And it was just really interesting for me. And it kind of made me open my eyes more to really why I love what I do. Because as you can see, like with this example of how when you just look at somebody's online presence, that's literally all you have to go off. You don't know what they're like once you start working with them, once you sign on and you hand them over your money and your time. With the building industry, it's a big risk. It's a lot of time and it's a lot of money. So you really want to make sure that you're working with the right person, and that is often very represented by your online presence. So as you can see, Grant's looked messy. It wasn't very professional looking. It wasn't on brand. It didn't stand out and become recognizable or memorable in the busy news feed on social media. He didn't stick to his brand colors, his style, everything was sized incorrectly. It just looked really tacky. And I think when you are going to invest a lot of time and money with a company, you want to feel very confident from the early stages. And this just doesn't make you feel confident, as opposed to Ben, very sleek, very on brand, very modern, very high end. It gave off a much different impression. So, who do we all think was ranking in all of the leads at this time? So yeah, it was definitely Ben. And it just sort of shows the risks of not having a strong online presence in today's digital world is just so important. Your online presence needs to reflect your level of professionalism that you perform in person, but also where you want that business to go. So if, you're doing little kitchen renovations or laundry renovations at the moment, but your goal in 5 years is to be doing $1 million duplexes or brand new homes, start reflecting that now on your online presence, on your social media, because that's basically who you're going to attract. So dream big, there's no limit. We are so lucky to be living in a day and age where we can market ourselves exactly how we want to. So don't do yourself a disadvantage and have yourself presented in not a very good way, because that's not going to reflect how great you are behind the scenes. Okay, cool. So I love to talk about the main forms of marketing when it comes to builders, because there's a lot of different avenues, but they all connect really well to one another. So the main king of your marketing and your branding is your brand, essentially. So your brand, guys, is what's going to be the core of everything that you do. So I always refer back to, the big giants in marketing like McDonald's or Apple or Nike, for example. With McDonald's, guys, it's the red and yellow M. You're never going to see a billboard. You're never going to see a flyer. You're never going to see a commercial on TV for McDonald's in green, purple, pink, because they're very strict on their branding, and it creates a feeling of being familiar and standing out. So when you're driving down the highway, you're drunk after a night out or something like that, that big red and yellow M is going to create a feeling in you. And it's the reason that you're going to go to McDonald's over their competitors with the same copycat colors like Hungry Jack's and Burger King next door. So with the highway analogy of the big red and yellow M standing out and creating a feeling in you, that's the same as your brand. If you think of the highway like your Instagram feed, it's very chaotic. There's a lot going on. So sticking to your brand colors is what's going to make people recognize you over time, have that trust and that loyalty to you over anyone else. So with your brand colors, your brand typography, everything like that, that's going to stem in your shirts, in your hats, in your vehicle signage, in your Instagram, in your website, in your business cards, in your letterheads, in your signage on the side of the road. Every single thing you do is going to stem from your brand. So you have to think of your brand as like the core of everything. And once that's done well, and that's reflecting you like you want it to, very professionally and modern. If you want to be charging high premium prices, but your logo is very tacky, then you'd want to get a brand that really reflects where the business is going. And then everything else is going to stem from that brand. So some nice visual examples, because I feel like that's the best way to learn things. You can see with this brand example, their colors are blue, white and black and navy. So you can see that their stationery at a quick glance is going to reflect them very well with their branding. So if you are networking, if you are talking to someone at the local pub about your business, handing them a business card. They then get an email from you. You've got that email signature on brand. Everything is creating a sense of remembering of that recognition of standing out with your branding. Then you can see as soon as we go to their website, it's reflecting their colors in a very modern and clean way. It's not overpowering us, but it's very subtly got a lot of white space. It's very clean. It's got minimal text to keep us engaged. People don't want to read a novel of text. And then it's converting to the social media as well, all on brand. You can then see when we do go to social media, as soon as somebody clicks on it, it's all very in line with their branding. It stands out, it's clean, it's modern, it's professional. And you've got about 2 seconds, I think it is at the moment, to convert somebody once they have a quick glance of your feed, to convert them into whether they actually are impressed with your feed or not, and they actually want to consider following you. That then rolls out into like your company brochures and things like that. So here's some examples of that. You want it to be very clean and modern and reflecting your branding as well. Just that next level of high end. And then what's working very powerfully at the moment is a lead magnet. So the difference between a lead magnet and a brochure is your brochure is just that next step of, it could be printed or it could be digital. They could download it from your website. Or you hand it to them when you're physically in front of them face to face. And it just shows that next level of like, we're serious. This is our processes. This is our experience, our testimonials, our projects, all of the things like that. And it's specifically about you. The lead magnet is more really diving into those people that are very cold about you. They don't know you yet. They don't like you, know you, or trust your business yet. So every business in the world, service business, solves a problem, because if you weren't solving a problem, then you wouldn't be in business. So what a lead magnet is essentially is it's basically this really tempting free gift as such that is very nifty in its title. So it might be 5, 6, 7 reasons to go from problem to solution, or 5 ways to overcome problem to solution. You're basically giving them a little dive into your expertise of what you do in your business for free with no time risk. They download it instantly and no money risk. It's free. And then you market that through your social media. And then once they download that, they give us their email and their name in exchange for it. So we're still getting some data from them. Once we get their data, we get their email list, we can set up automatic emails to slowly market to them. And basically the whole goal with that, guys, is to create them from a stranger to our business to someone who's slowly getting to know how we operate, the owner, a photo of the owner, what the business is about, so that they're still following us on Instagram, they're still getting our emails, but they're much more of a fan, so that by the time they're ready to use us or they're warmed up enough, you're wasting less of your precious one-on-one time. They already know a lot about the business. They know frequently asked questions, and it's basically just a point of you saying, okay, cool, these are the next steps to work with us. And you basically create this vibe of people dying to work with you, applying to work with you, as opposed to those kind of clients that think that they're doing you a favor by giving you the work. So also just an example of that, just to give you like a real life example, is our trades Instagram. I've got one of the biggest problems that my clients face is social media. So I have a free lead magnet, which is a free Builders social starter pack. The problem is they don't know social media very well, and the solution is giving them assets that are already done because they're so busy. So instead of just having a random website link that people are not really going to have any incentive to want to click on, we're really encouraging people with an arrow, with a teaser, click here. And then once they click there, they click here straight through to the page. And it's very simple, free social starter pack, a whole month of content done for you. They pop in their name and their email. And then once that's done, they're going to go straight into our email list, and on autopilot, the emails are all set up. So it will send them an email with the ebook and all the assets in it. And then on the last page, you can have a call to action. So, you could have book in a free chat with Ash, or book in a free consultation. Like, do you want to take it a step further? So we've really buttered them up with helping them for free. And now we're shown as the expert, and we're the next person that they're going to work with when they need some help with that problem. Here's another example as well. You can see this was for a landscaper. And we just designed this beautiful lead magnet, and it was basically, a solution to the problem. It was 7 steps to transform your backyard into a relaxing outdoor oasis, just as an example. And then it went through all these tips and tricks, and it was just beautifully designed in their branding to help them step by step with problems they might be having. But then what you can see at the end of the lead magnet, while we've got them hooked, while they're engaged in this ebook, you can put a photo of yourself and sort of start to introduce yourself in a really least salesy way. And you can say, hey, I'm Robert, I'm Simon, whatever, have a photo. And then you say, do you need some extra help? And then what we wrote here was like, I'd love to help you bring your design to life for free. All you have to do is book in a no pressure design consultation. It's normally XYZ. Just click this button here and we can help you. So you're basically encouraging them to book the next step with you whilst you've already got their attention. And it's just a much better way so you don't come across as like that sleazy salesman trying to get work out of them as well. And then the other thing that's working really amazingly as well is email newsletters. So that's sort of following up with the lead magnet. You don't want to overdo it. We usually do it for our clients every fortnight or every month. And again, it's usually just great performing content that we're doing on social. So it might be like, this team member has had a work anniversary, showing that you have long team, culture. We're celebrating 8 years in business. Look at this case study of this before and after house, or we've just signed on this new house. Look at the before, take them along the journey, testimonials, all those sorts of things. And then every now and then we will have like a call to action, like booking a chat or booking a free quote or whatever it might be. But email newsletters definitely tie into the whole lead magnet, is a great way to get people into your funnel and to kind of get people to become fans of your business in a very subtle way through the power of marketing. So I also just wanted to show you as an example how your branding all comes together with everything. You can see, guys, for that example with that brand, it then comes on to their signage. So over time, people come very, around the local area, become a lot more familiar with the business, their business cards, their website, the signage, their social media, just everything. It all comes into play, and over time, it all stands out. This is another company here. So you can see their signage, their hats, their website. It's all very like clean and modern. On site, they stand out. This is their social media before and after. So you can see not much brand, presence. But then with the new brand, it's all very designed, very clean and simple, so that people over time start to get really familiar with the business. Their shirts again, their social media and everything like that. Okay, cool. So I'll just go back into this. Do we have any questions or anything so far? Anyone want to have a say?
There's none in there at the moment, Ash, but I won't turn my camera on, guys, but just while Ash is kind of going through that, just want to double check on the chat here, just how many people are actually using this at the moment. It'd be good for us to get an idea of what are people currently doing, because a lot of when we bring people on board to Build Exact, generally a lot of us do website searches, a bit about the customer, that kind of thing. And, often it's getting better, but often a lot of people don't have these sort of systems in places. Like it might be photos on site on your social media and stuff, but no consistency in the imaging. If you guys can post in the chat, just kind of what are the things you're doing at the moment, that'd be awesome. Just please don't leave me hanging here.
And I think as well, Julian, a lot of people will get into it and they're like, yeah, I'm going to get started with it. And then they don't see results instantly. And they're like, oh, this is too hard. But seriously, guys, it's a very slow burn with your marketing. It's like dating. You don't, meet someone once and then trust them with your life. So it's definitely a slow build. You really want to build know, like, and trust, because people essentially, again, you could be the best of the best, but if someone doesn't really like you or know you yet, we work with people a lot more these days as well. It's Bob from, the building company, or Sally from this company, or Ash from InSeek, or Kurt from, Builders Coaching. It's definitely our names as well, and our personal brand. So it's not a quick thing. It takes time to really build that up. And then once you build that up, you're going to have very qualified leads, and you only need a few really good ones as well.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that I always find with this kind of lead magnets and things like that is you're building and I think Kurt will probably go into this a little bit, but you're building a pipeline straight off the bat already. So you're picking up potential clients before they're even ready to do any work with you. So by the time it comes down to a point where they are ready, they've already seen you for 6 months with a bunch of different posts and content and things like that. So you're already building that trust. And, you know, everyone's obviously different, but for me, I'm one of those people that checks Google reviews, checks social media profiles, checks everything before I'll commit to, you know, buying something probably not even that expensive. For a house or something really expensive, I'm watching and checking, you know, a million things before I make a decision. And those kind of, little, you know, breadcrumbs, you know, over time would definitely help soften the blow.
What was I going to say? Yeah, 100%. And I think like, what was I going to say? It's such a big risk. Like, you know, it's like months on end for a builder, and it's a lot of money. It's not like a Boost Juice where it's $5 and 2 minutes of your time. So you can't just post a few times and expect it to happen. And I think the magic with marketing is you can really curate who you want your clients to be, so that by the time you do spend that precious time one-on-one with someone, you know they're not going to waste your time. That you know that they know about you, they've seen you talk, they see what you're about, they've seen your frequently asked questions, your facts about the business, and they're almost like, you really want to create people that are like dying to work with you. Again, that more apply to work with us mentality than, please, we need work, we're desperate for you. Like, you don't want that. You want people to be like, see your prices and not even flinch because they're so ecstatic that they could get in with you. That kind of
absolutely. And let's just put a comment there saying we're in the process of improving our branding, still creating the concepts, and in the meantime I've dedicated some thoughts to our Facebook posts. So Ash, on that one with Facebook, Instagram, I know, look, I reckon there'll be people all over the country posting things on TikTok in the next 5 years. What would you say is the difference? Sorry if you're going to go into this, and I'm maybe overstepping your content here, but Facebook versus Instagram versus maybe something like LinkedIn or TikTok, or what do you think? Where should people be looking? I'm guessing to some extent it depends on who your target market is, right? If it's a younger audience, maybe Facebook isn't the best place anymore.
Yeah, I find so much. Instagram works so well for so many of my clients and myself as well. I think it's because everyone's hanging out on there. Like, I think if you did go back a few years, like maybe like, you know, my parents' sort of age wouldn't be on Instagram yet, but they're all on there now. And to me and a lot of my marketing friends, we just feel like Facebook is a bit of a graveyard, just in the sense that Facebook is so heavily based on ads. So for example, I think I've got like 800 followers on Facebook, but I'd be lucky for 20 people to see a post I put up because of the algorithm. So unless I'm paying for ads, no one's going to see it organically. And the power with Instagram is it's so good nowadays where it's not just based on following. So when we do reporting for clients, we did one the other day and they had like 3,000 followers, but we reached like 15,000 people because Instagram's like, well, your reels are doing so well, so we're going to push them to people that are like your followers, because even though, you know, you might only have 3,000 followers, we're going to show this similar content to similar people because we want people to stay on the platform, because Instagram makes money through ads. So Instagram is such a great platform because it's so curated to what we like. If I'm interested in cars or Britney Spears, I'm going to be filled with that in my feed. So if people are engaging and say, you know, one of my builder clients' content, Instagram's going to go, okay, this reel's going great, this post's going great, we're going to push it out to more people like these people. And that's where we like reach all these people. So Facebook is just a little, groups are great, Facebook events are great. But in terms of organic marketing, like we still post on there, but Instagram, we just see so many results. Also, like being able to do collaborations with other trades has done really well as well. Tagging, sharing on stories, like you have the potential of reaching somebody else's massive audience. Their audience already trusts them, knows them, likes them. So if we're associated with that company on to their followers, we're automatically going to get a lot of trust and followers back that way. So that's how, you know, we'll grow accounts and we'll get their authority, and we can basically tell them what we want them to do. LinkedIn is still really good as well. We post to a lot of our clients' links in as well. TikTok is great. The only thing, Julian, I'd say about TikTok is it's so worldwide and it's so sporadic. So you could just post this video that's so entertaining and funny and it might blow up to millions of people. But I've seen people that have blown up on TikTok and not get one sale from it. So it really comes down to vanity metrics versus sales and leads as well. So the great thing about Instagram is you can have all different content pillars that do different things. So testimonials gain trust, before and afters gain trust. Funny reels and memes are going to get the engagement up. It's going to push it to more people. But then we might have a post that's about reminding people what we actually do, like our services, or book a chat with us. That's not going to get much engagement, but the funny stuff's got the engagement. So more people see the stuff that gets us leads and sales. So TikTok's great. I love TikTok. It's so great for ideas, but it's just going to post it to someone in China or America. It's so sporadic and it's more entertainment based, and you'll see it once, like it, laugh for a minute, and then never see that account again sometimes. So they all have different purposes for sure, but Instagram's the best from what I've seen.
Awesome. Thanks, Ash. I think Ash, you kind of alluded to there is, maybe ideas of when you're posting content, tag a trade that you work in or get the trade to tag you and things like that, and make use of the content that you can both share, because sometimes that's the easiest stuff to do. But it's like I watch so many accounts for things that I watch like pressure washing driveway accounts.
Yeah.
I don't know why I do that, but I do.
Yeah. It's therapeutic.
I want my driveway pressure washer, I know who to go to. That's the kind of yeah.
So I think that's the big thing. Like, don't get too caught up in metrics, vanity metrics, likes, comments, followers, because like we did reporting yesterday for one of my builder clients and he had like 50 saves on a reel, but he had 2 comments. So it blew up, but it was more behind the scenes. Like people were sharing it privately in their DMs. They were saving it, like they loved it, but he didn't have heaps of likes and comments. So just remember, even your competitors and people that are admiring you from afar might be looking at you and watching what you're doing, but they're still helping your engagement, even though they're not liking and commenting, because they're saving or reading a caption. Or Instagram is so smart that even in the feed, if you just stop with your finger on the post that's designed beautifully, got your colors, Instagram is so smart that it's going to go, Ash has stopped and looked at this post, even though she hasn't liked it or done anything. We're going to boost that account's engagement because I engaged with it. So even though people might not be liking what you're doing, they're definitely watching you. So I think, you just got to keep going with Instagram and definitely like shout out another business. Be that person that's not worried about competition, because that's going to make you grow at the end of the day as well by utilizing other audiences.
Awesome. Great information, Ash.
Cool. All right.
Sorry to keep on interrupting you.
No, that's okay. If there's any other questions, always happy, because it's good to just mix it up a bit. All right, cool. So I also just wanted to really quickly touch, guys, on the power of strategy, which comes back to your branding, which is like the whole core of everything that you do. So Starbucks is always a great analogy. Usually, same with Nike and things like that. Sometimes it's the same product, right? But you can charge 3 times the price from being a very established brand, from being a very high-end brand with how you show up, as opposed to someone who doesn't invest in branding. Sort of like the example I said at the beginning with my dad's friend and the younger guy, Ben. So this is just the importance of how you show up is how people are going to perceive you, and how confident you show up on your Instagram and how you show that you're very high-end and you're exclusive or whatever you want to show up as. That's how you're going to be perceived. So it sometimes is the exact same product you're getting from someone, but just how they're branded and marketed themselves is the difference between what you pay and you don't even hesitate, because you trust that business as well. So again, everybody should always write this down. And this is the key when it comes to marketing, is know, like, and trust. So the first thing you want is you want people to know who you are. Ash from InSeek, Julian, Kurt, who are you and your business? But then eventually over time, it doesn't happen instantly. You want people to like you and like what your business offers. And then lastly, you want them to trust you, because we're not going to hand over money to somebody if we don't trust them, or invest our very precious time as business owners in someone we don't trust. And then that rolls into touch points. So really quickly, what a touch point is, guys, is it's like say you want to buy a pair of shoes, for example, and you're like, oh, or you want to book in a service, you want to book in with me, for example, you're like, I've got to book in with Ash, got to get that website done. And then something pops up and you forget. And then you see me drive past in my cart with InSeek on it. And you're like, oh, I've got to get in touch with Ash. And then you forget. And then you see my advert on a bus. Oh, I've got to get in touch with Ash. Third touch point. Then you see me on Instagram. Oh, that's right. I've got to get in touch with Ash. And then you see ad pop up, fifth touch point. And then you get an email newsletter from me. And then you're like, that's it. And then you see a story and you're like, this happens all the time. Then someone might reply and go, I've been meaning to get in touch with you for ages. I've been busy. Can we work together? So this is before anyone even pays a deposit or books in with you. This is just getting in contact, going to your website, filling out the contact form, booking in a meeting. So this is why it's so important, guys, to not just post once and then think it doesn't work. It's on average in 2023, 8 touch points before somebody even makes action, because people are so busy. So this is why it's so important to keep posting on Instagram, because people might follow you and then not engage with you, and then they forget what your business was even called. So the more you post, the more you're going to be front of center, meet them where they're hanging out on Instagram, on social media, and remind them of what you do and how you exist, because then they're going to get all these touch points and they're going to be like, that's it, I've got to book in. That's how the power of like your website and your social media and your email newsletters, everything is just so important, and they all cross promote between one another. So for example, guys, if somebody refers you to somebody, you're at the pub or you bump into someone out and they're like, oh, you've got to go to Ash, blah, blah, blah. That person trusts their friend. So they're probably 85% going to go with that company. It helps them having to look on Google and do their research. But then the next thing they're going to do is they're going to check out your website. You're fresh in their mind. So say they referred to you and another company. The next thing they're going to do is go onto your website. If your website doesn't load, if it looks like it was built in the 1900s, if it looks tacky or you don't have a website, it's really going to make them think, oh, I don't know if I trust this company as much as the other company I was referred to. They've got a beautiful website. If they're not ready to use you yet, they don't have the money, they haven't got their new house yet, whatever it is, they're going to convert from your website to a follower onto your Instagram. So when we do websites, we always have a live feed of your Instagram. So it's always updating on autopilot without you having to do it. Makes you look in demand, busy, all of the things. Then if they convert into a follower, realistically, guys, they're not hanging out on your website every day, but they're hanging out on Instagram. So if you're showing up just consistently 2, 3, 4 times a week, they're going to get all those touch points and be reminded, oh, I've got to get in touch with that company. I've got to get in touch with that company. Oh, they did that. Oh, they did that before and after. Oh, look at that testimonial. Look at that reel. He looks like a nice guy. The owner, look who I'm going to be working with. Then they're going to get more tempted to get in contact with you, because people are so busy and they forget, and we're bombarded with 1 million messages a day. So that's the power of your website and your Instagram. Also, if they find you firstly on Instagram, but they're not ready to use you yet, warming them up through your social media, through your lead magnet, eventually they're going to convert through that link in your bio to your website, and the website's where they're going to go to your contact page, and that's where we want them to convert to a lead by filling out their details, and you can do the rest and book them in. When you are doing your online marketing, guys, you want to get, I could do a whole other webinar on this, but you want to get very clear on who your target client is. You need to know who you're talking to. Where are they located? Who are they? Make up some names. Mary and John. Are they in their 30s to 40s? Are they on a massive income? Do they have no kids? What is their problems? And then you want to work out your main offerings. So if you do 10 different things, but there's one specific service you do that makes you the most money, that lights you up the most, make sure you're promoting that the most. You have free will. You can do whatever you want on your marketing. So don't think that you're limited to have to promote, $1,000 little service when your biggest thing is a $500,000 new house, whatever it might be. So get very clear on what your main offerings are, because yes, you know them, they live all in your mind, you know them off by heart, it's your business, but people don't. So get very clear on your main offerings and what you might want that main offering to be. And then your main goals. So it might be to showcase your work, generate leads, attract ideal clients, highlight your team culture, which helps when you want to hire. It might be to improve your brand, your personal brand. So your personal, your personality through the brand as well, all different things. Then it's really fun to also, we do this when we do a strategy with clients, but have a think of, if your brand, guys, was a person, what would their personality be? Because again, personal brand is a massive play in 2023 and beyond. So would you be more serious? Would you be more fun and enthusiastic? InSeek is definitely more that fun tone of voice, and that's how we come up with our copy and our wording and our graphics. And would you be more the budget side? There's no wrong or right choice. Or would you be more that exclusive side? Getting very clear on this is helpful, because that's how you're going to show up in your graphics, your marketing, your tone of voice, and how you talk to your talk to your audience. And then getting very clear, if Instagram, if social media, if email marketing, anything could do one thing, or what, like your main call to actions, what would they be? And there's no limits on this. So usually it is, you want them to convert to your website, because that's how we convert to leads, get their information, get them to book in a call, Zoom, or an in-person quote. And number 3 is we want to build cold prospects, because with the building industry, it's not a quick decision. There's a lot of factors that go into it. So sometimes it is a slow build over 6 months before they become a client. So getting them to download your ebook and getting them to slowly trickle through those funnels is going to be done on autopilot. You don't have to invest any of your time in that. So they're slowly building up to a big fan of your business and you before you have to invest any time. So those are the 3 main things usually that you'd want Instagram to do. And then this is me just going on about that ebook analogy again, talking about that. And then just some tips as well, if you guys want to screenshot this page or write down some ideas. Content pillars is just a fancy word for your different post styles. So we don't want to be, if you're posting 8 times a month, you don't want to be posting 8 reels of you dancing. You don't want to be posting 8 testimonials. You don't want to be posting 8 boring posts about what services you offer. Every content pillar has a completely different purpose. Like I said, some of them are to get engagement, so that Instagram thinks your account is very popular, so it'll show it to thousands more people. Some is to get leads into, your inbox. Some is to build brand authority and personal branding. So some ideas are facts about the business. This could be how many years of experience you have. Our team's combined experience is 100 years. We donate to a charity, just whatever facts you have about the business. About the owner, what was your story? What were you like as a kid? Were you always helping your dad out on the tools? Has it always been a passion of yours? Because a business owner with a passion is so much more trustworthy than somebody who's just in it for the money. So really just showing why you care about your clients and why you're in this industry. Your services, yes, you know them, but you might have new followers and they don't even know what you do. So don't be scared to remind people what you actually do. Staff culture behind the scenes. You guys, if you take the team out for lunch, beers on a Friday, Christmas party, team birthdays, team anniversaries, talk about your team behind the scenes, day in the lives, fun things like that. People love that. Frequently asked questions is going to help you when you spend your precious time one-on-one with a prospect. They're going to know a lot of these questions already. Holidays, these are just more the big ones we do. So usually like Anzac, Easter, Christmas, New Year, have a bit of fun with it. Like we did for one of our construction companies, we put all like Santa hats on their head and their branding colors were blue and orange. So they had blue Santa hats on. So just make it a bit of fun. Don't take it too seriously. Reviews and social proof. Again, this doesn't have to be a polished Facebook or Google review. If you get a text message or an email from a client literally saying, oh my God, you left the house spotless. You were here on time every time. I'm so happy with your communication. That is gold. Screenshot it and use it in a beautifully designed template with your branding colors and everything, because that's a lot more credible and real than anyone can type a testimonial. So screenshot things like that, because it's human psychology that people want what other people have had. And if they've had a good experience, they're going to want that as well. Industry facts and updates are going to make you look like the expert in the industry. Before and afters, obviously, but even a lot of people don't do this, but if you're about to sign on a new client and their house looks terrible, take a photo and say, stay tuned, coming soon, because that might look exactly like somebody else's house. And when you take them through the whole journey, they're going to go, I remember what that looked like at the beginning. Oh my God, imagine the potential that could be my house. So don't always just post the polished afters. You really want to take them along the journey so that they can come on that journey with you. And then just some key notes of what we always make sure to do. We're very big on branding, so always making sure you stick to your color palette. Don't stem too far out of that. You can see how beautiful it looks once somebody lands on your feed. and then how that represents into like your social graphics and everything like that, and how that stands out over time in the busy news feed. Some content mistakes that people do make is, again, you don't want to post about the same thing every single month. You want to mix it up. Posting about that particular topic in the exact same way. So that might mean, guys, if it's tips, you only do them in a post every time. Mix it up, do a video, then do a post, then do a story. So mix it up, your different types of content. And the cycle of serving without ever selling. So a lot of people are scared to sell, but remember, you're not a charity. You do need to make money at the end of the day. So definitely use all your content pillars, but don't be scared just to remind people of how to book a call with you, how to book in with you, your processes and what you offer as well. And then get very clear on your strategy. I can't stress this enough. It makes it so much more enjoyable when you get it all out of your head and into a strategy. We always make this compulsory before we start social media marketing. We do have a content planner specifically for this with all examples and ideas and months and everything like that. So I will link that at the end if you want to check that out as well. But getting very clear on your strategy and goals is going to help you to be able to reverse engineer your goals to now and really create your dream business. Because the fun with marketing is you can literally be whoever you want. We have the power to do that now online. So have fun with it and don't set yourself small. So I've got some things to help everyone out. I've got the free social starter pack. You can literally just screenshot this screen here or use the QR code and I'll put it in the chat as well. This is a whole, for builders, they're so time poor. So it's no theory, it's literally just actionable assets. You've got the post design, so you can literally just change the colors and the fonts and get started with your branding posts and all ideas and captions and call to actions specifically for that industry. And then this is going to last you like forever. It's basically just 200 templates, caption templates. It's all just done for you. How to take good content, post ideas for months of content, reels, stories, everything under the sun. And there's a discount code as well for everyone in today's webinar as well. So what are they going to do? Yeah. Whoops, where did we go? But yeah, is there any other questions on anything else, Julian?
Not that I can see that's popped up here, Ash.
Okay, cool.
But we'll have some time for questions at the end, guys, if there's anything you want to go through. So I think Kurt's just going to hop back on now as well. So Kurt's going to probably dive in some of those areas in particular, Kurt, right?
Absolutely, man. No, that was a fantastic presentation, Ash. Like, thoroughly enjoyed it. I was taking notes. So if there's no questions, I'll jump straight into my presentation. I'm just going to share my screen. One sec.
Yeah, awesome. Ash, there is something there from Claire just asking, can you jump in and have a look at her socials and see how she rates?
Yeah, for sure. Like now or just in general?
Maybe we'll get Kurt on because
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, we'll run short of time. But yeah, Claire, if you maybe just pop your business
Instagram in.
Yeah, in or just message Ash directly.
Yeah.
And you'll
and also oh, sorry, I was just gonna say also, guys, I'm on Instagram at inseek_trade. So anytime you want to ask a question to any of us, like, always happy to answer questions as well. It's probably the quickest way. But yeah, if you want to just Claire, if you just want to send your Instagram through that, I'll pop it in here as well. But I can answer any questions really easily on there as well. There you go.
Fantastic. And Julian, you'll send our details out with the recording, right?
Yeah. Everyone will get them.
Okay, fantastic. Yeah, that was a really good presentation, Ash. And guys, there's never been a better time. Like, if you want to set up your marketing systems, there's never been a better time to do it because of the couple of things: the quality sharing, the sharing of quality information, and the ability to access people like Ash, specialists who can help you set up best practice marketing, which is what I'm going to be talking about as well. Just dovetailing beautifully with what Ash was talking about. So it's exciting times to get these marketing systems set up and then using the systems and technology to reach more people and get your message out as well. But, I don't want to sound alarmist, guys. It's also really, really important now. Like the times that we're in, Julian was talking about before, how, there's a couple of factors at play where it's never been more important for you to get your marketing processes in place. So I know for some of you, maybe you haven't got good marketing instructions and systems. And, this webinar is going to really help you get things set up and up on the right track. I just got a message from a builder now while I was waiting. One of a guy that I'm working with, and he was saying that, he's unfortunately missed this webinar. He's going to watch the recording, but he's never really set his marketing up correctly. His wording was, I've never been happy with my marketing. All right. So if you can just follow these basic strategies and structures that I'm going to share with you, and then what Ash spoke about as well. But more importantly, guys, if you're on the live call or you're listening to the recording, make a note to get in touch with Ash and her team from InSeek and get them working on your marketing systems. All right. There's a concept of who, not how, which I'll get to later. You don't need to figure out and understand how marketing works at a foundation level, or how social media works, or video marketing, everything, content creation, client banking, all that. What you need to do is find someone who does know how it works and who can help you implement it quickly and well. So make sure you do that at the very least. I'll just run through what I'm going to cover off. How much time have I got? Like half an hour, 25 minutes, Julian?
Yeah, about that. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I'm happy to keep on going, Kurt, as long as people are happy to stay on. So.
Okay, great. Yeah, I've got I could talk for a week on this, right? So
1 week webinar.
What's
Get
that?
comfy.
Yeah. Fasten your seatbelt. I'm going to try to slow it down. I think I was speaking too fast last week. I get a little bit excited. But marketing really is the holy grail of your business, guys. I'll just run through what I'm going to cover. So, what I'm going to cover off, and then we'll get into it. Marketing as it relates to cash flow, profit, and workflow. That's why marketing is the holy grail. It really helps you optimize your profit, your cash flow, and your workflow. And it also ensures that you backstop your success. So think about the best year you've ever had in business, right? When you actually made some profit. Maybe you've never had a profitable year. I know that for at least 90% of builders, they don't make a net profit, maybe earn a decent wage, but not making a net profit after wages to self and all expenses. Okay. And if you haven't, don't feel bad. Okay. Most businesses, not just builders, don't make a net profit. But if you have, and you've had a good year, maybe made a couple of $100,000 or more, maybe you've even been lucky enough to get into that 7-figure club, the $1 million net profit, which is not that difficult to achieve, by the way, and we'll get to that later as well. But my question to you is, why have you not been able to replicate that best result you ever had, whatever your PB is, for the next 10 years in a row? And when I was early on in my business career, I wanted to know, like, if you have a good year, if you make $1 million or whatever it is, how do you guarantee that you can backstop that result and do it for the next 10 years in a row and for the rest of your career? And marketing allows you to do that, specifically what Ash was talking about with quality content creation, building a following on your socials, building an email list that is essentially like a fish farm where you client bank, where there's the people that fall in love with what you do over time. You take them along a continuum from them finding out who you are, the fact that you specialize in a certain area, which is really important, and we'll get to that as well. But then you drip feed them content, educational content that gets them to know, like, and trust you. One of the most important things in marketing, which Ash alluded to. And it's really important that you position yourself that way, right? How you position yourself to your market is one of the most important decisions you make in business. All right. So if we can get you to do that, just at least position yourself, decide who do you want to be in your area? Do you want to be the renovations extensions builder? You want to do the commercial fit outs? So you're going to be the custom home luxury builder for sloping sites on the coast, whatever it is. Once you make that decision, everything's going to flow from there. Okay, so I'm going to be talking about the marketing systems you can use to attract those A-grade clients once you've decided how you're going to position yourself. Also setting up your marketing systems from that client banking perspective. So you farming and following that farming philosophy, not hunting. A lot of guys are just trying to race out there, catch the job, kill it, eat it, and then race out and catch the next one. And that's where, sadly, there's a lot of builders, just trying to get that deposit to pay the expenses on the previous job, right? Your social media. So Ash had some great content she covered off there. And I would highly recommend you outsource. Even if you know a bit about social media, rather outsource it to someone who can do it for you. Why? Because it's going to free up time. And there's other more important, higher value activities you can spend your time and energy on. How to avoid the race to the bottom. So this is one of the things, guys, really important. If you haven't been listening, make sure you're paying attention now. This is that's going to happen. And what's coming up with the current market conditions, right? As the market constricts and gets smaller, the pie gets smaller. The builders that aren't proactive with business development, obviously you are. If you're on this webinar, if you're listening to the recording, you are proactive with your business development, so good on you. But most guys aren't, unfortunately. So what do when the market shrinks? They panic and they drop their pants, right? They drop their margins, and that's what we call the race to the bottom. You do not want to do that. You want to protect your margin. Protecting your margin is one of the single most important things you can do in this market, guys. So I just can't emphasize that enough. Like, again, I don't want to be alarmist. I don't want to be the doom and gloom guy, but we do need to, face reality. The US is looking at a potential recession. It's not going to be that bad here in Australia and New Zealand, but the market is going to shrink. So you need to be ready, right? And the good news is you've got plenty of time. Got at least 12 months, maybe a little bit more, to get your marketing system set up. And that's plenty of time, guys. So make a decision today. And again, engage Ash and her team so they can get the ball rolling. You've got them working on setting up your marketing systems in the background while you're dealing with the sales and networking with architects, which we'll get to as well. So having a strong online presence, which Ash covered beautifully, and making sure that your digital presence gives you leverage, like video content, the fact that you can send out a 12-page PDF that explains to someone exactly why they should work with you and not your competitor. You do the work once and you can use it 1,000 times. All right, so really, really powerful, good leverage. And then how to identify and sell your most profitable work. So that really relates to your financials. And I need to talk about that before we get into it. So that's what I'm going to be covering, guys. That's the list of topics I'm going to be covering. Marketing is one area. I've mentioned it's the holy grail, but there are other very important areas of your business. There's 10 on the screen now. You can see there's marketing, capital, sales, delivery, administration, finance, systems, team, and leadership. So your team, the quality of your team relates strongly to your leadership, and the hallmark of leadership is decision making. So it's about your decision to work on your business, which is one of the most important decisions you can make. You've got to decide you're going to work on your business, all right, not just in your business. I'm assuming you guys understand the difference. And then within that, it's deciding on your marketing strategy. So again, how you're going to position yourself in the market. What specialist are you going to be? What do you become exceptionally good at, and the number one builder in your area, like Ash was talking about, right? What is that type of work that you want to dominate? And that should relate to your financials. Now, I don't want to make you guys feel bad. If you feel bad about anything, like you feel like, oh, I'm not doing this and I should be doing more, that's good. Like, use that to make a change, okay? Normally, it's only when we get to a point where we're really frustrated or we're really pissed off that we make a change to do something. So if that comes up at any stage, or if you're already feeling like that, use that. That's a good thing, okay? Now, I do need to talk about financials and the fact that, since 2004, having worked with over 1,000 builders now in Australia and New Zealand, I have yet to find a builder. And by the way, I've had a couple of builders come to me who are already in the 7-figure club. So netting $1 million after all wages and expenses, right? But before tax. And I've yet to find one who had their financial controls set up correctly. Most business owners, not just builders, don't know their break-even point. They don't have an accurate profit and loss, and you probably don't have your cost of sales and your fixed expenses and overhead separated adequately so we can calculate an accurate gross margin, your break-even point. Now, I'm not going to go into that. We don't have time to go into that. But what I want to emphasize is, if you market exceptionally well, but you don't have your pricing strategy, your financial control set up, you can market yourself out the back door. All right. So you need to find someone who can help you with your financial control. So seek out someone. How do you know someone who can help you? Find someone who's helped other builders like yourself. Okay. If you need me to help point you in the right direction, you're welcome to contact me, info@builderscoach.com.au. Okay, just contact me. I'll happily point you to some of the best bookkeepers in the country. And also, as mentioned before, Julian, I'm happy to share my best-selling book, $1 Million Builder, which has a chapter on finance. It goes through all the details in finance. One of the guys, the previous webinar, I don't remember, Julian, he freaked out at this point. He said, this guy's here to sell his book. I'm not here to sell my book. I'll give it to you for free, guys. I'll even cover the postage. All right, just email info@builders, builder with an S, coach.com.au, and I'll get it out to you. My mission is to help as many builders as possible. About 90% of the builders I help I never meet. And then some of you, when you read the book, you may decide, hey, this stuff's amazing. This is going to help me, make all my dreams come true. I should really work with this guy. And we find about 10% of builders do that. All right, industry update. I'm not going to go into any details on that other than 4 weeks ago, myself and Julian were in a room with about 50 builders. The room we were sitting in was in an accounting firm's, it was one of their training rooms. And one of the directors was talking about the state of the industry here in Australia specifically, and how there were 1,500 insolvencies. All right, 1,500 builders had gone insolvent up until that point, and the previous record was 1,200, and we still had 3 months left of the financial year. So you guys have heard all the doom and gloom. Like under any market conditions, if you put the news on, it's all doom and gloom, right? My advice to you is unplug from the media. Work on your marketing systems, put some best practice marketing systems in place, find the right experts who can help you do that quickly and well, and do not listen to the media because it's going to mess with your head, okay? But the reality is the market is going to shrink and you need to be ready, right? Marketing is going to give you the opportunity to pick and choose your clients and your jobs. And, if you can increase the number of negotiated tenders you get, I'm assuming you guys have had a situation where someone's come to you before and said, hey, we want to work with you. We've heard great things about you. You're our builder of choice. They've fallen in love with the previous job you've done. And maybe you've won awards, whatever it is. The person came to you and chose not to go and get competing quotes. That's what we call a negotiated tender or a one builder tender process. All right. So that is a license to what? It's a license to increase your margin. Okay. Now, just quickly on margin, your margin, gross margin, needs to be at least 20% minimum. And that's based on the Home Building Compensation Fund guidelines here in New South Wales, where they've looked at of all the areas, of all the metrics, and there are a number of metrics, which they look at when you guys do your home warranty, get your insurance, and margin's possibly the most important. Okay. Cash flow is one of them as well, but your margin needs to be minimum 20. Ideally 25 if you're working with me. Okay, minimum, guys, minimum. So there's a little bit of a I'm sure for some of you that's going to be, you'll be going like, how could you even do that? So again, marketing's the solution. All right, marketing puts you in a position where you can attract, okay, those A-grade quality clients. And it all starts with you making a decision on how you want to position yourself. What sort of specialist do you want to be? So you want to be the cardiologist, not the GP. Why? Well, cardiologists are, if you've got a heart condition, very good at dealing with that specific condition. And if you do have a heart condition and you go to a cardiologist, you're going to trust them a lot more than you would a GP. Okay, so you want to be that builder. Also, when you get the invoice, what do you expect when it comes from the cardiologist? That it's going to be more, okay, than what you get from a GP. Otherwise, something's wrong. You probably like somewhere in Thailand, somewhere getting it done in a back street for cheap. So that's how you want to position yourself. And some of you probably heard this before, right? And a lot of the things I'm covering off, and maybe some of the things that Ash covered off, are things that you've heard before. But here's an important question. It's not about, do you know this? Right? Don't ask yourself, do I know this? Because you might be going, yeah, I know this. It's, are you practicing this? Okay. Have you made a decision to specialize in something? And then are you working towards building a groove, like getting into the groove for that specialty and then dominating that space in your area? And that's where we're looking at having a strategy where you're farming, not hunting. You're not just trying to catch that next job and then compromising your values to take on a job that you shouldn't otherwise, or maybe work with a client, like a toxic client that you would ordinarily say no to, but you feel like you have to say yes because you have no other options. Marketing gives you those options. Okay. When it comes to client banking, the process like that Ash was talking about in sending out, now she's an expert at knowing, what you should send out, and how you don't want to just have videos going of you dancing, right? You want to have educational content. Maybe there's a new apprentice that joined your team, and you'll do a post introducing them, or you'll have a new client signing a contract, and you'll do, a little video or photo with them coming on board, or a handover, or awards you've won, or, the reveal at the end of the job, or during the build, whatever it is, whether it's video or photo content. Ideally, you want to be educating your clients. So once you've decided on your niche, say it's renovations and extensions, that's the most staple niche. And also, by the way, a niche where the margins are the highest, okay? And it relates to custom builds as well. So a lot of the guys that work with us, that builders coach, they come to us doing renovations and extensions or additions, and then they slowly progress towards doing the higher end custom builds. But renovations and custom builds are related in that every build is different. They're completely different, all right? But within that space, when you client banking, so building a social media following on Insta, Facebook, House, whatever you choose, and then also build an email list, you can send out a consistent pulse, educating them of photo and video content, educating them on what's involved in doing a renovation or a custom build. Okay, and then what that does is not only ideally gets people to fall in love with what you're doing, but also gets them to know, like, and trust you over time. And then people will come to you and already have a good understanding of what it is you do, how you can help them, and will be ready to proceed, ideally with a negotiated contract. We had a builder down in Melbourne who built up a list of 4,000 people, just in an email list of 4,000 people. And every week, people were coming to him saying, hey, we've been following you for 18 months, for 2 years. And they had a full understanding of his process, his preliminary agreements, the fact that he charged for a cost analysis or a quote. And, they had seen previous projects that he had done. They, a percentage of them were totally in love with something in a particular area or type of a genre of home. And their decision was made. And this is why marketing essentially is selling in advance, because and again, it depends on you having decided on a particular niche and then sending out educational content that relates to that. The opposite of that is a Me Too builder, a builder that'll take on any job. No, too big, too small, it doesn't matter, I'll take it on. All right. You'll always be in diapers if you do that. All right. You're never going to really find that groove and develop that specialist skill and experience, which, once you do that, allows you to add value. And ultimately, that's a first principle of business. The more value you add, the more money you make. All right. Marketing is just communicating that value. And when you specialize, it makes the value you communicate highly relevant to a select group of people. All right. So educating your clients, crucial. And there's lots of ways you can do it. Like I said, there's photos, videos, social media. There's a PDF document. We've got a frequently asked questions document that we get builders to send out in the lead up to a site visit. It answers frequently asked questions that relate to, what's a fixed price contract versus a cost plus? What are provisional sums, PC items? What's square meter rate? So it educates them on the different ways that builders use to get to a certain number. And it also emphasizes the need for the financials to be accurate. Most people are completely unaware that there's different ways to quote a job, that there's different ways to build a house. And once they're educated on it, it sort of opens their eyes. And then with that, builds a lot of respect and credibility for you as the builder. All right. And that also lends itself to, you coming in and maybe not being the cheapest builder, which some of you, when I mentioned a 25% margin, may have been going, well, how are we going to win work if our margin's that high? It's not going to win work. Well, we've had plenty of guys where they come in, they're $300,000 more expensive than the second cheapest quote, and people still go with them. And why is that? That's because they have built so much trust and credibility, and also have a reputation, right? If you've got a reputation of quoting a job at 800,000 and then it's 800 grand is what the people pay by any variations, then I'll grab testimonials of that. And when people go out there and look at other builders, most people, if the architect says $1 million, the builder's quotes come in at 1.5 and 2. It's all over the map, right? And people end up paying a lot more than they originally get told. So if you can build a reputation of saying this is what you'll pay, even if you're more expensive, there's trust and credibility there, and people are more likely to go ahead with you. All right. So this is also, by the way, how you get people to pay you for a quote and thanking you for the privilege as well. All right. So moving on to quality content. Ash, again, covered this beautifully. And I would recommend using someone like InSeek to help you set this up and to get a consistent pulse of quality content out there. Within that, though, within the getting quality content out there, I do need to emphasize that the number one medium is video. Okay, so video content, and there's different types of video. You can take videos on your phone. You can get your team to take videos. We have guys doing that. And again, you can do job-related stuff, team-related stuff, client-related stuff, current affair videos and content that you can put out. But I'd also recommend that you get some quality video content, some really world-class quality content for your website. And also, you know, perhaps for your sales process. And again, in the lead up to a site visit, that just communicates your point of difference in the market, who you are, your brand, maybe your story as well, like Ash was talking about earlier. And there's some great companies out there. One of them is a company called Biz Video. They create world-class video content. Most of you have probably heard of them. They're very active on social media, so they'll probably come up on your feed. But I'd highly recommend working with someone like Biz Video to create quality content. And just the quality of the video content that they create gives you a point of difference in your market as well. And again, with marketing, it's all about having a point of difference, right? It's a differentiating and then being as relevant as possible to a select group of people. All right, so let's keep moving. Check the time here. All right, so once you've got your area of specialty, you know how you're going to position yourself. You put your flag in the sand, that's your specialty, and you've got the fundamentals in place. Okay, so fundamentals being your website. Everyone needs a website. All right, your website should clearly communicate your specialty and why you the only builder of choice for someone who wants to do a renovation or extension in your area, for example. But also, beyond just being an online brochure, your website should first and foremost be a database building machine, which is what Ash was talking about, right? Having an opt-in, what we call an opt-in. So people opt in, put in their name, email address, phone number in exchange for some information. And we've had some builders create amazing content. So like a PDF document that's 25 pages long with amazing photographs, very, very detailed checklists, you know, the sort of information that just wows people, it really blows them away and delivers a lot of value, but also opens a loop. All right. Some people are going to be, you know, searching the internet on a Saturday night, just, you know, browsing, and then they come across your website and maybe they're thinking of building next year, you know, or the year after. But if you can capture their details and you can open that loop with them, and also more importantly, wow them, engage them. And then once you've got their details, you can send them, you know, even once a quarter, just an update, an email update. And I don't want to use the term newsletter. Don't ever have like sign up for our newsletter on your website, right? You would have seen that before. Who wants another newsletter, right? No one. But if you can get them to download useful information and then update them with more useful information, don't hit them with spam, just update them with video content. Again, educating them, huge amount of value in that. Okay. So that's a foundation thing, is a website that builds a database, your socials. So Facebook, Insta, maybe House, if you're in that custom home space, depending on your area. About 60% of our builders, by the way, have got really good results with House. I was just speaking to someone about it yesterday. And then offline. Okay. So integrating your offline and online marketing, which again, Ash was talking about, site signs, banners, you know, site banners, flyers. We have guys using what we call showcase flyers, which is, you know, like those real estate agent postcard type flyers. Do that around a job in an area. Like if you're doing a job in an area that you like, or that you're targeting. So I've got a guy on the Gold Coast I was talking to yesterday doing a job in Palm Beach, and he's going to do one of these drops, these showcase flyer drops. I recommend a minimum of 2,000. Okay. They're cheap as chips, by the way. That's hundreds of dollars. You can get, the printer, the printing, graphic design work done, and get them distributed for like under $1,000. And you just point to your job. And then on the postcard, you'd have a marquee photo, your niche statement, the fact that you specialize in renos and custom homes or whatever it is. And then say to them, hey, go to our social media page. We're going to be photographing this job. We're building around the corner. We're going to be sending, posting photo and video updates of the job. So, come check it out. And a lot of people want to have a little sticky beak, right? So they'll jump on your socials takes us to your website. Your website's got the download. Boom, and you're building your following, you're building your list. Okay, that's client banking. That's the fish farm concept, right? So this is how your offline and online integrates. People see your site sign, they're walking past one of your jobs. Boom, they go to your website again. They go into your database. Brochures, SEO, Google pay-per-click, even radio. So this is where you should have at least 10 different ways to market your business, if not more. And very important, guys, that you test and measure. I'm sure Ash will agree with us and her team would do it. You test and measure what channels of marketing work for your niche in your particular area. Why is that important? Well, then, once you identify that, if you can identify that, then your marketing becomes science, right? And you can buy money at a discount. So you can direct your marketing spend to the channels that work really well. We had a builder where they were doing SEO. So not SEO, Google AdWords plus Facebook advertising. And they'd allocated a budget to each. And they were testing. And what they found is the Facebook ads and certain videos in particular were getting a huge amount of views. Got 75,000 views on one of their Facebook videos. The Google AdWords were not working that well. They took the budget from the Google AdWord campaign and they put it into Facebook, and it worked really well. That was a few years ago now, because I know you guys were saying, Facebook's for old people. So it's not about, it's about the test and measure and what's going to work for you and your specialty and your niche. Now, I do need to emphasize, once you've got your marketing humming, all right, you're going to need to, a lot of you will go, well, if we got like 10 inquiries coming in a day, that's just overwhelming. We can't go and see them all. We can't service them all. And this is why it's so important that you have a sales process. All right. You need, a bit like if you're sluicing for gold, you need a process for how you can deselect the, B, C, and D grade prospects. Remember, your marketing to put you in a position where you're getting a consistent flow of quality AAA grade blue chip jobs. And those are the people that are lovely to work with. They're going to acquiesce to how you do things. Ideally negotiate a tender, it gives you more margin, also contract on your terms, your payment schedule, which means good cash flow. And also being able to sign prelims. So that's where, you have relations with architects and designers. You include design work, maybe engineering, even a tree fella, surveying, whatever it is in the prelim agreement. And then that way you're talking to people who want to build in 2024 and 2025, on big enough projects. So what does that do? That helps you optimize your workflow, which is what I mentioned at the very beginning, right? Marketing is the holy grail because it's going to optimize profit, workflow, cash flow. All right, so you guys get the picture. You got to have the sales process set up. And by the way, we're going to be talking about this tomorrow. We've got another webinar coming up devoted purely to this sales process. So those of you that are interested, make sure you jump on that. In fact, if you do not have a sales process, if you're not charging for quotes or using prelims, make sure you watch that because you really want to get that set up before you turn on the taps with your marketing. But I can tell you now, setting up a sales process, I'm happy to share the whole thing with you. The whole sales process is in the book that I mentioned, in our book that I mentioned earlier on anyway. You can set that up in 2 to 4 weeks. Your marketing takes a bit longer, right? It'll take you about 12 months once you've got a solid area of specialty and then all your foundation systems and you start sending out content. It's going to take about 12 months to get a really good groove and good traction with it, but it's well worth the effort. All right, so we'll again talk about the specifics of the documentation in the sales process tomorrow. What I want to talk about next, guys, are a couple of out-of-the-box marketing strategies that are what I would consider absolute game changer, all right? And they're counterintuitive, like a lot of things that work, it's not what you think, all right? Now, a lot of these things came to me, all right, from our builders that I work with. So I didn't discover them myself. I just want to make that clear. I witnessed them with my own eyes, and it was absolutely mind-blowing. So there's a local builder here in Sydney who I worked with, who, when they came to me, had made a decision to focus heavily on the client experience. So what do I mean by client experience? So most builders, and the industry, in fact, has a reputation for being really poor at communicating. And Ash alluded to it when she gave that story about the old guy, young guy. It was interesting, Ash, because you said the old guy communicated well. Well, generally, you get the opposite, where a lot of these guys don't communicate well. All right. And what I mean by that is there's not a lot of proactive communication during the build process. So most builders don't proactively contact the client every week. You tell them, you'll know whether or not you do this, and update them on what's happening with the project, and the fact that every project, there's course correction all the time. Nothing happens in a straight line. So are you constantly updating them on the changes, and also giving them the bad news up front? Most builders won't give them bad news up front or explain the rules of the game before the build. So these guys made a conscious effort to do that. In fact, they had female project managers that were assigned to a job, a bit like a valet service. It's an additional service, like your clients literally paid more for it, but then they had these project managers who almost like handheld the client through the build, and was the intermediary between the guys on site and the client and the architect. The project manager also had an offsite interior designer who helped with the selections process. I used these guys on one of my properties here in Sydney, and the experience was absolutely mind-blowing. I've built before. It's often extremely frustrating. I know people that have found the build process and the lack of communication so bad that they'll never, ever build again. You probably know some people like that yourself. What these guys did was set it up in a way that the client experience at the end of the build, I'm talking about a renovation, right? At the end, they were like, oh, we're disappointed, the job's over, because we had so much fun. Okay, said no one ever, right, after building. So that, guys, if you can pull that off, or even half of what these guys are doing, that is marketing. And when I say game changer, I don't use that term lightly. When I met these guys, they were farming out the overflow of referral work from this scenario to 5 other builders, all right, in Sydney. So I was helping them. I had builders. I'm working with lots of builders. I was like, yeah, I'm assuming if you ever have overflow, you'd be scared to refer to another builder, because what if that builder, burns the client, and then that your reputation and brand is at stake. So they were coming to me because they knew the builders that I work with have good structure and process and are professional and deliver, right? So they were farming out the 5 builders that I work with in Sydney. That's the volume of overflow that they were dealing with. Okay, so there's one example. I've got plenty more. I don't have time to get into all of them now, but if you do have an opportunity to step back in your business because you've done some business development, I would highly recommend that you make the client experience a focus and see what happens. Guys, I'm going to leave it there. Before I do, just one last message. All right. You do not have to figure this out for yourself. All right. You do not have to figure out how to do your social media, video content, the website, everything. You wouldn't bake your own wedding cake. Don't build your own website. Ask yourself who can help you with this, and then get in touch with them now. So from a marketing perspective, that's Ash and InSeek. I'm happy to help as well. Get a copy of my book if you haven't already. It's also on Amazon, on Audible. I know most of you are busy, so you can't sit down and read a book. I don't. I listen to them these days, so you can grab it there as well. Otherwise, get in touch. If you want any information that I've covered, happy to share. Just info@builderscoach.com.au. But happy to open it up to questions if there are any. Otherwise, Julian and Ash.
Hey, mate, great content, Kurt. That was really useful information.
Oh, thank you.
Whoops. I'm back. Yeah, that was amazing. Well done.
Kurt, we haven't got any questions there, but one question I thought I'd ask you, mate. If someone that at the moment and let's just say they're not using software and things like that. So obviously we hope they use Build Exact, but if you're sitting there like a lot of people are, where they're working stupidly long hours, they're doing these projects that, that are probably netting them something like, I don't know, 70K a year as a salary. So we're not talking huge amount of money for the amount of work that some of these guys are putting in. They're probably not seeing their family so much. They're bogged down. They're thinking, I haven't got the time to figure out someone to do my social media. I haven't got the time to learn Build Exact. I haven't got the time to come and speak to you for some coaching. Where do they start? Like, what's the first, couple of steps that they can do to sorting their business out?
Yeah, man, that's a good question, because that's probably the case for a lot of builders, especially now in current market, where the big guys listening to this that are pushing 80 hours a week, maybe more. I've had guys 100 hours a week and on a hamster wheel, and it's a recipe for burnout. So the short answer is the number one place to start would be the sales process. Like, sales is the number one area of inefficiency. And if you can start charging for quotes and using prelim agreements, and just having a process in the lead up to that, then the lead up to people signing prelims and charging for quotes. And again, we'll be talking about this tomorrow on tomorrow's webinar. But for example, when an inquiry comes in, so most builders would get phone calls or emails from people going, hey, I want to, I'm thinking of renovating, blah, blah, how much it's going to cost, can you come see me? And then they'll ordinarily just book in a time and rush out and see them, or talk to them on the phone for 45 minutes or an hour. Instead of doing that, send out a questionnaire. So a 2-minute conversation. In order for me to help you best, I need some more information. I'm going to send you an email with some questions. Please answer them as best you can. When I receive that, I'll absorb it all, and then I'll give you a call and we can have a meaningful conversation about your project, right? Guys, that questionnaire, there's an example of a couple of questionnaires in my book. That alone will free up some time where you can then go, okay, who can help me with my marketing? Let me give Ash a call, booking a time to have a session with them, and then get them working on that. And then that's going to then free up more time to then go, well, hey, let's book in a call with Build Exact, and then, get a job scheduling tool in place. And that frees up more time. So there's definitely a sequence to putting business systems in place, in the same way there's a sequence to building a house. We always start with sales on day one, because it is the biggest inefficiency, and it's an opportunity to free up at least 5 hours. We get our clients to spend about 5 hours a week working on their business, and they can do that by putting a sales process in place straight away.
Awesome, mate. And Kurt, we've spoken about this a few times, and I always try and mention this on webinars now. Guys, if you go online and just go into like CommBank or one of the banks and do a mortgage calculator, and this is kind of why, I've been banging on about these kind of things for a little while now. I know Kurt has as well, but if you actually look at what the borrowing capacity is now that the interest rates are kind of in that 5 to 6, maybe even higher, depending on your position, the amount of money that you can borrow now is so much lower. And I'm sure people know this already, but just to kind of put it into context, I've got it on CommBank here. So there's 2 people, $100,000, both of you earn a year. 2 dependents of children under 18. So it's showing that you may be able to borrow up to 1.2. That's with a 3%. So I go back to, with CommBank's rates at the moment, 801,000 you can borrow. Now, if you were to customize that to about 2%, which is where we are at for most people, 1.37 million. So you're talking a $500,000 swing in between, a year and a half ago to what we're at now. So that's just for those guys that are trying to pick up those clients that are not the lower budget homes. The amount of people that can borrow 1.37 million is so much lower than it was before, or even a million is so much lower than it was before. So how you have to structure your business and your processes to win those clients, considering there's, 15, 20, 30, 40, 50% less of those people now than there were in the market, and people are less likely to maybe feel like they want to spend money now. All those systems and processes need to change. And, that's going to be really starting to accelerate, because I think it's around this time and in towards the end of the year where people's 2% mortgages are all going to start to drop off. So you're talking $1,500. Some people are having an increase on their mortgage. So get these things happening now, even if you're booked out for 5, 6, 7 months, don't think, I'm going to do it, Christmas time, I'm going to work on this, I'm going to take 2 weeks off, I'm going to sit down and do some of this stuff. Do it now so that you are building your pipeline for future. In the same way with us at Build Exact, when we have brochures that people download, we post Instagram content, we have webinars, we have a bunch of different things. People see us, people might not be interested right now, but in 6-7 months time, a year, maybe they're going to be subscribers. And we see that all the time. I call people in, I had a guy from 2019 that just signed up a couple of months ago because his father's retired now. And he's been like, as soon as that happens and he can take control of the business, he'll sign up. So all of this stuff makes an impact in future planning.
Absolutely, man. I'd recommend targeting that higher end of the market for the exact reasons you just cited, where, you know, people are not going to be able to borrow as much. Banks are going to push back. So targeting that higher end, because there are people who have money, and it doesn't matter that interest rates go up. You know, they don't worry about putting petrol in their car, buying groceries. In fact, they're going to make more money. Like there were people that made a lot of money during the pandemic, right? And companies that made more money, which is why the stock market surged at a certain point. So I would, structure your marketing systems to target that sector of the market, because the bottom end, I'm starting to see some issues creep in.
Yeah, I think you're going to see a lot of people, being people that were price conscious before are going to be even more price conscious. So, yeah. And I think, like, to Kurt's point there about people making money, I think when house prices start to drop, the people that have access to cash buy more houses in those times, and that's how they make the money, because everyone else starts buying houses when they start going up in price and the interest rates are lower, so people can afford, and that obviously stimulates the market to increase in value. But some of these guys that have money sitting in the bank, like I said, the interest rates don't really matter because they're either cashed up, or the interest rates don't really matter to them because they know they're going to come down. They can borrow regardless of the interest rate being 7-8% versus 2%. So
that's right. Yeah. Any thoughts from your end, Ash?
Yeah, I guess so. Like, I guess it's just, everything that we've kind of been talking about, really. But I 100% agree with everything you're saying in terms of like, just like the sales process is really important as well. And I think I've learned a lot about that through you as well, because I never really looked into that even when like I started my business. And I feel like I've learned a lot about that throughout the years as well. And just like different things that you've been saying has just been really interesting for me. And I've even like said it to a client the other day, kind of a few things that you were talking about, and then how it kind of like stems into what I talk about and everything like that. So it's really interesting. Like, I don't know, there's just been a few things that you've said even in another webinar, like very similar, but just like the psychology of it and things like that.
No, cool. Yeah. The psychology behind sales and marketing is another whole conversation. Yeah.
And I think that people forget that marketing, going back to a bit more like that, is like a lot of it is just psychology.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, people are paid an extortionate amount of money to do a dance on social media now. So you can see kind of how much power effective marketing and stuff, has on people. Like even just YouTube, and you see some of the content creators there, and they're, multi-millionaires. So it's just how you market your business. And I think, for trade builders sort of space, I think a lot of the time, so much of the work is done away from a computer that sometimes it's hard to get the time to focus on your business. Like my neighbor here, I won't go into too much detail in case he ends up watching this, but he's young baby, 3-4 months old, has been working office socks. Like I don't see his van there in the morning, and I don't see it there at night. So he leaves early in the morning, comes back late at night. I'm sure people on this have experienced that as well. And I think from my understanding, just real pressure to feel like he can't let those clients go, and he has to keep on helping and keep on supporting them, doesn't want to lose business. So he keeps on working with them. And they refer me to people, they refer me. But I'm like, he's busy all the time, which for me just kind of tells me that his prices are probably too low. And he's getting referrals to people that are probably also a bit tight as well.
Is this a plumber?
Huh?
Is the
Yeah,
plumbing
we
company?
spoke about this the other day. Yeah,
That was really interesting.
Yeah, just you're in that sort of market and you're doing work at these people and you keep on getting business. So you feel like, oh, I'm getting business, I'm getting customers, I can't ever let them go. But all it's really doing is tying you down to more customers that are not going to pay you what
This
you're
is
worth.
exactly what I was talking about at the start of my presentation. And when I had that profit wheel up, why, marketing is linked to finance, and you need to, there's a danger you can market yourself out the back door. Now his marketing is just referrals, which are the best quality leads you can get, but he's getting C and D grade leads, or he's not pricing correctly. So you need to have a pricing strategy with a minimum margin that's going to work, and understand the financials, your break-even point, where you make profit, because there is a link between volume and margin. And if you don't, all the marketing in the world is not going to help, which is why I wanted to emphasize that. And again, guys, who, not how. You don't need to go and do a finance degree to understand the financials. Find someone who does. I can happily point you to people that can get the bookkeeping set up correctly, and also help with your accounting if that's an issue.
Yeah.
And those two things are separate without going down that rabbit hole.
Oh,
Yeah,
accounting was the best thing I ever outsourced.
Oof, yeah. Well, that's involves tax law, which interestingly, Albert Einstein said he couldn't get his head around tax law. So we've got zero
Really?
chance. Yeah.
Yeah.
They keep changing it, and it's none of it makes sense. Okay.
Yeah,
We need to learn it at school. We learn such useless stuff that I've never used. Seriously.
Yeah, I mean, I think with who you work with, it's always best to pick people that work in your area, because I've seen so many people provide bad advice. People recommend some softwares, and I'm like, they recommended that for a builder, and I'm like, Jesus, how did that happen? And I worked at MYOB before and worked with bookkeepers and accountants, and they were really trying to get their head around who their client base was. And some people have clients in retail, hospitality, construction, trades, manufacturing, and they're just never going to be good enough to give proper advice in a specific area. So
always in diapers. Yeah,
exactly. So yeah, they're just never going to have the time to learn enough of what they need to, unless they're a giant team and they've got someone that works there. Which
but that's the beautiful thing about the times we live in. Like, you can seek out a specialist. Like, most people, we live in a world of mediocrity. You got to seek out a specialist, but then who also has a track record of positive reviews. And like, the review systems we have now are great. Like, you can jump online, you can see like a restaurant that has really, really good reviews. Same as Amazon. Before you buy a book, you can see like 7,800 reviews and it's 4.8 stars or whatever. It's going to be worthwhile. So just take the time to seek out, again, someone who knows what they're doing, and has a proven track record with demonstrable results. Yeah,
absolutely. Guys, if you haven't seen in the chat, there is that webinar we've got tomorrow. We sort of looked at doing a back-to-back one today. So if you can't make tomorrow's one, same time tomorrow, just feel free to register it. You'll get the recording, and obviously, as usual, you can reach out to any of us on here regarding any questions you might have. But I think we might wrap it up there, guys. We've actually had a really, really low drop-off rate, which is awesome. So obviously, people are getting some value out of this, which is great to see. But anything to add there, guys, before we call it a day?
No, I also say thanks to you, Julian, Build Exact, Ash from InSeek for co-hosting. It's been awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, it's a good little duo team. I mean, trio team.
Yeah, no, same, guys. It's really important for us to get really good information, content, experience out to people. We're sort of really operating in that estimating job management space, but we don't want to sit up here and talk about that stuff without bringing people that actually know what they're talking about into that. So really, really appreciate you coming on board. Ash, it's only the first one we've done, but hopefully the first of many. And we'll see anyone else that's still on today. There's still a few people there that we'll maybe see you tomorrow.
Yeah, and if anyone ever has any questions at all, please just DM me and I'll get back to you. Any questions? No question is a bad question.
Absolutely.
Any way I can help.
Awesome. Thanks for your time, guys.
Thanks so much, guys. Bye.
Okay.
Bye.